Wanted to say hi, everyone. It looks like we have a couple of people here with us live, so welcome to this month's Take Note Chat. What we're going to be doing is having a conversation today on OneNote and Outlook. I'm Jared DeCamp, organizer of the Learn OneNote conference, the new Learn Teams conference, and blogger at classinoffice.com.
Awesome. And this is Michele Christensen. I host the OneNote Bullet Journal Facebook group, and I use OneNote to keep just about everything in my life organized and moving forward. I'm a YouTube creator, and I'm also a blogger at onenoteworthylife.com. So this is the second episode of the Take Note Chat, and we will be taking your questions and comments and thoughts and ideas and things like that throughout this live video. You can use the chat box right on the YouTube watch page. If you're here with us live, you can feel free to use that comment function throughout. That's a big part of this Take Note Chat, as we wanted to bring people together to participate as a group. If you're watching later, you can add your comments in the comments section of this video, and the video will stay live on the link that you're watching it on. So the idea for this chat came about during a live webinar that Jared and I co-taught, and one of the most valuable pieces of that webinar was the live chat. OneNote is such a vast topic that there's no way that one single person could know everything about it, which is why we wanted to create this kind of communal place to share ideas. So yeah, jump in and share. If you have a question, ask it. If you have an answer, you can go ahead and give it. And you can use the hashtag takenotechat, and I will put that in the comments in a second, just like the name of this, takenotechat hashtag. So you can use that anywhere on social media or anything like that. And I'm pretty excited about today's event. We had about 50 people join us live for the first Take Note Chat, and since then, we've had almost 600 additional views. So that is pretty exciting, and it tells me that we as OneNote users want this kind of forum to share and collaborate on ideas. So, Jared, why don't you tell us about today's topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk Microsoft OneNote and Microsoft Outlook. These two tools, they do a few helpful things together, and we'll discuss some of these things as it relates to your emails, your meetings, and managing your tasks. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do with the program. So like if anybody does something similar or different, we'd love to hear. A key thing to realize as we discuss some of these tips and tricks that we use is that this is like a long-term pursuit towards more efficiency, productivity, and impact. And so really your goal should just be to watch what we do and maybe take one, maybe even two takeaways from this chat, because you're not going to be able to completely change all of your workflows after just this quick hour that we're together. So just take one or two things. And then last thing before we jump into it, I want to make sure that we're clear. When we're talking Outlook, we're talking Outlook Desktop 2016 version.
Gotcha. Now, I haven't used Outlook much, so but some of these things I've been looking through, like what Jared and I are going to be talking about, and I'm really excited about it. I have Outlook as part of my Office 365 subscription. So if you're a home user of Microsoft Office 365, you have Outlook in your suite. And I know a lot of people have it in their workplace, but I'm really excited to see what it can do, because I'm wondering, it's like I have this great tool available to me and I've never really explored it. So I'm looking forward to being a student today. We will be talking about some resources, and we can add those to the chat as we go. So Jared, before we kick it off, let me go ahead and check out the chat here. Okay, so nothing in the chat, no questions there. So why don't you just go ahead and start with topic number one, which is emails.
Yeah, absolutely. So with emails, I mean, I'm just as guilty as anyone else in working out of my email inbox. And what I mean by that is working out of my email inbox. It's you're deciding the priorities of the day by the most recent email that you've received. And then you're trying to remember everything that you need to do and accomplish by scrolling back and forth through your emails. It gets confusing, and it gives, personally, me a feeling of being out of control. Instead, for projects taking more than an hour, I prefer to get OneNote involved. I'll go ahead and share my screen to explain a workflow I just went through last week. Let me share my screen here. All right, can you see my screen? Michele, can you see my screen?
Sorry about that. I had myself muted because the microphones on this are very sensitive. So if I even make like a soft a sound or something, it'll switch to me. So yes, we can see your screen just fine.
Okay, great. So I just pulled up an email that I had last week. So I was talking with a gentleman, his name is Bart, and we had a meeting over Skype, and then there's a few deliverables that I needed to accomplish, or I need to accomplish for the future. And so I took the email that I sent to him, I erased a few of the sensitive information, but I wanted to get this email into OneNote so that I could start to add subtasks and start to use all of the cool stuff that OneNote lets us do. So this is in the email. All I have to do is click the OneNote button, and then I can see my notebooks that are open. I'll put it in the demonstration notebook, and I can put it in the email section here. I click OK, and you saw that it just jumped in right there. It's 1:41 p.m. my time, and the details of the email just popped in. So that's a really good way to get the email in, all the critical information, and then work from there.
That is really cool. I think that's just, because so many times with an email, like that's the first time I've seen that. So this is a real, initial reaction. So many times with an email, you have like multiple things, and you mentioned deliverables and things like that, and you'll get an email, particularly if you're having a conversation with someone via email, and there's things you want to, maybe 3 or 4 things that you want to act on, and to put it into OneNote lets you kind of parse that out to where it belongs. So that was great right there.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of ways that you could set up your organization once you get the email from Outlook into OneNote. I know that Noah Scherer from SimpleFly has a really good video on YouTube that you can check out. Michele, do you think you can please share that link?
Sure.
And I've also seen some cool stuff from Stahl Hansen on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can share that link too, maybe. I mean, the way that Noah has his strategy is he has 4 different sections in his notebook. And so he'll send an email into current, and then he'll move it to review if needed. And then he'll have the someday section. And I think actually maybe those are the 3 ones that he does. So current, review, and someday, so that you can kind of work through from the thought process is like working from left to right. Something that you're starting, something that you're reviewing, and something that you're completing. Let's see. Yeah, so when we're thinking about moving emails from Outlook to OneNote, the strategy that I see is being best for like small to medium-sized project. Quick projects you could just handle right in your inbox. Somebody sends you an email and you need to respond right away, just like get it done quickly. But then if you have a really large project, it might be easier to create an entirely separate notebook and work out of a project-based notebook.
Yeah, I really like that emphasis on these small little things to just do them right away. I follow the book and productivity system, Getting Things Done, known as GTD. And one of the steps of that is like when you're processing new items, whether they're incoming memos or emails or whatever, if something will take you 2 minutes or less, you just do it on the spot rather than putting it on a list or a folder to take care of later, because it's almost like if you use that 2-minute rule, it would take you 2 minutes to get it into your system anyway. So just take care of it and it's off your plate. Yeah. Another thing I noticed is I really like this idea of having that whole email in OneNote for a project, because that way you're not having to, like if you're working on the project, everything you need is right there in your folder or your section or whatever. And you don't have to flip back to your email to try and find documentation that you're looking for.
Right.
So I use Gmail, so I don't have this button available. So how would I do this myself?
Yeah, so that feature that I showed you is specific to Outlook, but when you're in Gmail, you can use the email to OneNote feature instead. I have a link, maybe if you could drop that in to like how to set this up. After you set it up, all you have to do is email your page to me@onenote.com, and your emails will be sent over to your OneNote notebook and section that you desire. Now, that trick will work for any email client like Gmail, Outlook, any of the others. So it's a cool way to get your email in if you're not using Outlook. And one last thought is that you could also work when you're sending that email to me@onenote.com, you could also even send that as a BCC so that like the receiver doesn't see it, but it's going into your notebook for yourself.
Oh, that's really cool, the BCC. And if people aren't familiar with that, that means blind carbon copy. It just sends a copy of an email without having a line at the top of your email that's visible showing who the copy went to. So it's kind of just an invisible way to get a copy. But that's really cool because you could just kind of do that throughout your work on a project, and then it's just done automatically. Everything you send and might need to access is automatically in OneNote. That is a great idea. So let me just check chat here. So I put that send to OneNote in there. So that's great. And I think there might have been one other link we were going to talk about.
Yeah. So just the last thing was I just wanted to share about OneTastic. So people that use OneTastic, there's a macro called Outlook email date stamp, and that automatically changes the date of the OneNote page to the date that the email was sent rather than the date that the page was created. So that's nice because then it'll allow you to sort more easily based on the time and date of those emails.
Oh, that's great because, you know, I do notice that a page, you know, it just takes the date and time of whenever you create it. But if I'm going to put an email on a page, I would way rather have the date and time of the email. It's much more relevant. So that is really good. That's another great tip.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's all that we have for emails. So good to keep going, or is there any questions?
You know, I did have, I wasn't sure there is a, one of the links we were going to talk about is a blog post you did on OneNote and Outlook. Did you want me to put that in the chat, or are we going to talk about that later?
I can grab it and I'll put it in a little bit later.
Okay. I can do that too. I've got that link handy. So,
if you have it handy, go ahead and share.
Okay, I've got it. I'll do that. All right. So we don't have any questions right now. So if you do have questions, as we've mentioned, just go ahead, or comments or thoughts or whatever, just go ahead and put those in the chat. We are regularly monitoring the chat.
Okay.
But I think we're ready to move to section 2, which is meeting notes and details.
Yeah. So it's not too much different than getting an email to OneNote. There is a meeting notes icon with an Outlook calendar appointment in the meeting tab. So I'll go ahead and share my screen again. And all right, I'm going here. So I have an appointment that I have scheduled for a meeting that was supposed to happen this morning. And so what I can do is hit the appointment dropdown, and I can hit on meeting notes. And I could share the notes with the meeting, or I'll just take notes on my own. And it looks like it went to, shouldn't have been, let's try that again. Meeting notes. Okay, so it's automatically sending the meeting notes, maybe because, probably because before we got on this call, I was testing it out. So what I'm going to do is see if I can right click and move or copy and move it into meetings. And hopefully that will get us there. There it is. Okay. So there's the Employee Engagement Summit meeting, and it has all of the location and important details, who the participants are, and then it's got your area to add notes. That's kind of how you add meeting details to your OneNote notebook.
And let me just so I understand this, this would be like, say, you know, you and 5 other people had a meeting and it was on your calendar, and you wanted to start a page in OneNote for your own meeting prep, your notes, your research, whatever you need to bring to the meeting. You could just use this quick trick to import the meeting details to that OneNote page so that you don't have to manually create them, and your OneNote page is already formatted, you know, with the meeting details. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you're in the meeting, one of the things you could do is like take a picture of, let's say, the whiteboard that you're working on. Maybe you have like, if you use the Office Lens app, you could take a picture of the whiteboard or a PowerPoint slide, and then you can add it as a subpage of that meeting, and you have all the details of the meeting and all the details that happen during that meeting.
Yeah, that is a really cool. really cool trick. Office Lens is a great app, and it. Hang on, I'm just checking the chat here. Okay, Office. If you don't know what Office Lens is, it's an app for your phone, and it lets you take a photo or scan a document and save the image in multiple places. So an example of a meeting where you're using a whiteboard, you might take a picture of it and then save it in OneNote, in your meeting section or the project section, in your photo gallery, and then again in OneDrive.
Right.
And Jared, you had said that aren't there settings or something for a whiteboard or other?
Yeah, so you can just,
Lens?
once you open the Office Lens app and you take a picture, you can set it for a whiteboard or a business card, and it makes it a better picture taking experience than just using like your native phone camera.
And Jared, you're let me. I don't think it's me. You might have just gotten quiet. Maybe you could just reposition, turn your mic back toward your mouth.
Yeah, can you hear
There
me
you
now?
go. Perfect.
Okay, sorry about
that. I know, because I use that same kind of mic, and if it just twists away from your mouth, you can't hear it. The other thing that's cool about this is I feel like it could be really efficient. One of the biggest time wasters in meetings is when you walk in and you have a group of people sitting in a room, or virtual or physical, and then someone starts handing out information in the meeting. So instead of talking about the content of the material, and making decisions and things like that, people are busy trying to digest it. And I really like this as a way of kind of grouping all your meeting data together, and then you can share it and, make sure everyone has the same stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And I know meetings are like, just sort of like you bring it up and people kind of bristle at the idea because so much time gets wasted in meetings. And the other thing with that Office Lens, you had mentioned a business card, and I once took a picture of a business card and it automatically parsed the contact information, which I thought was really interesting. I didn't even know it could do that, or nor did I mean to do it. So that was kind of a neat surprise.
Yeah.
All right. So we do not have any questions or comments in chat. So I think that, let's see, we are probably ready to move on.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about Outlook and OneNote integrations. Last topic is Outlook tasks in OneNote. So this one is only pertains to the OneNote 2016 desktop version. You can set an Outlook task in OneNote, and then that item will appear in your Outlook flagged task list. So before I show you kind of how to do it really quick, I want to make it really clear that we're talking about a task, and we're not talking about a calendar appointment. And the reason why that's important is because when you add this task, it's not going to appear on your calendar. Let's say if you have a shared calendar and you want to block off time, going this route isn't going to be the way you want to go. You want to go to Outlook if that's the route that you want to do. But this is specific to Outlook tasks. And that was just something that I only realized recently. Let's see if I can share my screen here.
And so Outlook does have a task function, like a to-do list task type function?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so I got the task. So like, let's say that I have the hashtag takenotechat. I can do the Outlook task here, and you can see that I can select like today, tomorrow, this week. The one that I recommend you do is custom. Opens a box, and then this box right here is really important. If you hit reminder, then that's going to send you a reminder to remember to complete the task. If you're like me, I definitely need a reminder, so I can put like, let's say 5 p.m. and save and close. And then if everything went through correctly, it should be on my emails. And here you see task in Outlook, and you can see that that task is now something to do. And I can even check it here and go back into OneNote. And if it all syncs right, let's see, I think it right there. I think it needs to take a little bit of time to sync. If I check it here, I think is where it goes. So you need to, there it updated. So you need to check it off in OneNote rather than checking it off in Outlook. So you can see that like there's important things that you need to play around with it and get an idea on what your personal best workflow is. I'll stop sharing there. And I think
that is really cool too. Like, it's just amazing to me. You could be just sitting there working. Like, you and I have talked about how we both work primarily in OneNote. I could do a lot of my writing and drafting and checklists and project management and stuff. And you could be in OneNote and have this like random thought and just say like, oh, I need to make a to-do item for that. And you just type it, hit that flag, and it's done. It's like on your, master to-do list within Outlook. Like, that was a really cool trick too.
Yeah, it's good. And if you want to try to go like a little bit next level, there's a couple things that you can think about. Like, you're allowed to have more than one tag in your OneNote. So like a good example is you could have a to-do tag in like a OneNote to-do tag, and then you could also have an Outlook flag. So that way you get the Outlook task area, you get a reminder, and you also have an opportunity to check it off in OneNote. So it's like redundant, but it may help with remembering something really important.
Yeah, we never know how people's workflows go or who shares what with who in an office and stuff like that. So that could be really useful to someone. Now, and just to revisit that workflow, it looked like when you checked it off in OneNote, it definitely checked it off in Outlook.
Yeah.
And when you go the other way, it did not seem to work, or that might have been a sync issue.
Yeah, it might have been a sync issue.
Okay.
So I mean, like for me, because like you said, like I work out of OneNote, it wouldn't be so much of a problem. But if your workflow is working out of Outlook, then you might want to like look into that and check that out.
Right. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen real quick just to show the two, what do you call it? The two tags.
Okay.
Get this up here. Okay. Okay. I'm getting one of those infinite loops. So anyway, I was just going to show that you can have two tags. Maybe you could just pull that up real quick and just show that you could do like, a to-do tag and like a priority tag, like a star or an exclamation point.
Yeah. So, like if I
maybe
go ahead and do like, I could do the today tag, and then I could also do a to-do tag, and then you can see both of them are together. I would do this, like I could even have like extra stuff, like a third one. So like, I'm not sure what the limit is, but there's several that you can do.
Okay, so, oh, and then you had mentioned the one you like to use is the custom reminder, not today or tomorrow. And you had sort of touched on the reason for that, but can you just kind of explain your, make sure we got that?
Yeah. So the reason is because otherwise, if you just do the today, tomorrow, like you won't have a reminder sent to you at a specific time, which is what I personally need. So like, let's say that for this Take Note chat, you wanted to set a reminder to participate. Well, you can, with the custom, then you can set the time to 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then you'll get a reminder pop up when that time occurs. And it actually, that turns it into like a more helpful reminder process rather than just like you constantly having to double check your task list throughout the day.
Yeah, and today or tomorrow isn't that specific. Like there might just be some random default where at like, midnight it just says, okay, these are your 5 tasks for today. Whereas with a custom reminder, like you said, you can pop a reminder up exactly when you want it. So that is pretty cool. I mean, that's a neat workflow right there. I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and check the chat. So we have Robert says that Office Lens is great, but it takes up a lot of memory. Yeah, I could see that being true. I know, like with myself, when I use it, I usually have it saved to multiple places. So yeah, pros and cons. And Robert also says that checking a task should work from either Outlook or OneNote. It works that way for mine. So that's good to know. Thank you,
I think
Robert.
it was just a syncing up issue.
Yeah. And we're probably using a lot of bandwidth on both of our ends for live broadcasting. So, so here's a question. I don't know if you know this, Jared. When will Microsoft design an app to view Outlook tasks on your mobile app or web?
I do not have any idea on that
Yeah.
one. Let me check my mobile. I use the Outlook app on my phone and nothing. So I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, that seems that's a good question. I mean, I would think that that they would want to do that. Like everything should be mobile and synced across devices. So I don't know. And just for clarity, neither Jared nor I have an official connection to Microsoft or OneNote. We were just doing this, because we're avid, enthusiastic users. So we don't have any inside track that's not available online or anything like that.
Yeah, and then the questions, do you know if the upcoming Outlook 2019 will maintain integration with the desktop version of OneNote? Any ideas on that?
I don't. I've heard rumors. I've heard, people asking the question, but I don't have any official, knowledge of that.
Yeah, and so today, like I primarily work in the OneNote app version rather than the desktop version. But the reason why I was showing the desktop version today was because it has more integrations. But it's worth it to mention that the OneNote app also allows for meeting details to go back and forth with Outlook. So there are features within the OneNote app. So if I had to guess, nothing official, but if I had to guess, I would say that you'll still be able to do Outlook 2019 with the desktop version, but day by day, month by month, week by year, the OneNote app is going to have more and more of the integrations between the two.
Yeah, I ditto that prediction. Like it just seems to be that that's the way it's going. And one of the things I did hear, not from any official channel, but it was that Microsoft is striving to make OneNote more consistent across all of the places you might use it. So I think that's kind of part of the long-term strategy. So we have all these great features that are in OneNote 2016 that are not currently in OneNote for Windows 10. So if they're going to make it more universally usable across all platforms, I would think they'd want to add features to the one we're all going to use rather than take away features we like.
I think you're right. That's what I would guess.
Okay, so we have another question. Tags in OneNote is great. Great in the desktop, but you cannot use tags on the mobile app. I should say you cannot search your to-do or priority tags. The OneNote Android app is okay, but generally clunky. Not great. Yeah. They might have a ways to go on that. I personally like it. And one of the things, the app, I mean, I'm an Android user myself. And one of the reasons I use OneNote for Windows 10, which I believe is also, Jared, you're calling it the Windows app, is because of that consistency across devices. Like I got really, really into using all the tags in OneNote 2016. But then I didn't like that it wasn't consistent across my devices. So I just sort of changed my workflows to make sure I could do whatever I wanted on whatever device I was on.
Yeah, pretty much when I'm on mobile, the only tag that I'll use is the checkbox if I'm going through a list of some sort.
Yeah. And I also use my desktop for my like heavy work. Like if I'm going to be typing or really entering or doing some like deep thought work, I generally use my phone only when I'm out of the house and I need to do something quick. And then I use my tablet for like medium applications. Like if I'm taking a trip, but I want to work on the trip, I can do a lot of my work from my tablet. Or, if it's something kind of in between, like it's some typing, I might use my tablet.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is like when I go to the gym, I have a table that I've created with like my exercises and I can record my progress. And so when I'm at home, I just have to add a few extra columns into the table because it's really difficult to do in the app. And then when I'm on my phone at the gym, I can easily just add content to the table. So it's kind of like a both, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Like you do the bulk of the setup and the editing at home. And then when you're on the run, you just kind of add the data. And that's
Right.
cool. We might need to see that.
Yeah, but I'll have to add a few extra pounds to the weights that I do.
Yeah, you can make up one just for public sharing purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so right now we just have a couple of people saying, thanks for your thoughts on that, and let's just make sure we have covered. That's just about the end of our presentation. So I just want to make sure we've covered all of the points we were going to cover. So, and Jared, you have a couple of links to managing tasks with OneNote and a couple others. So I can put those in the description of the video later because we didn't really talk about them today.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Yeah. So what happened is I had written that blog post about Outlook and OneNote, and then somebody commented on there. There's a 2006 post that somebody shared, and it was talking about managing your tasks with OneNote and Outlook. But I still felt like it really applied all the way to today, which was incredible that it was that old. But it was like a really good example of some like workflows. Maybe the technology has changed slightly, but like the premise behind it all was super helpful and valuable.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and put that in there. Okay. And then I think that's just about it for the formal presentation. We don't have any actual, let's see, last chance to ask questions, and we are in a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to give it a minute to catch up with the chat. And then we could, if we don't get any more questions, we're ready to wrap it for the day. So I don't see anything coming in. Yeah, so that's about it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this session of the Take Note Chat. If you're watching on YouTube, I'd love it if you'd give this video a thumbs up so we know you liked it. And if you want to attend future Take Note Chat sessions, you can subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. You can find out how to get in touch with me and get a link to the OneNote Bullet Journal Facebook group in the description of this video.
All right, and my contact information will be in the description as well. One of the best ways to get in contact with me is on Twitter at Jared_DCamp. And be sure to add the Take Note Chat onto your calendar. What we're going to do is we have the next one on April 17th, 2018 at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the topic of that one is going to be on OneNote and Teams. We don't have the link ready quite yet, so what you need to do is be sure to hit follow on this YouTube channel, and that will notify you when we're ready to go.
Awesome. And we did just get one more comment from Robert. I recall from either your OneNote conference or YouTube to create a page with margins is ideal to view on your mobile. Oh, that sounds like a cool trick. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, you can set the custom size of the page. I believe it was, who was it? Let me look and see if I can do this real quick.
This is like a perfect example of why we like to include a live chat portion, because that's something that, you know, everybody watching this is going to benefit from. And I feel like that's a really great tip, and it wouldn't have come up if Robert hadn't brought it up. So thank you, Robert.
Yeah, I want to say that I'm getting the link for it right now. I want to say Art mentioned it. I know that he was talking about like 6 or 7 good ideas to use the mobile Android app with OneNote. So I'll share that link right here. I don't know if I'm allowed to share links.
Oh, you don't have that. You should be able to see the chat on the YouTube watch page.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I just got a note that the blog link above does not work. So is it incomplete? So you know what? It's LJO. I will post. I'll make sure to get the correct link and put it in the actual description of this video, because I don't know if maybe the chat truncates it or something, or maybe I copied it wrong. Let's see. I'm going to try once more and we'll see. And if not, I'll make sure Jared and I can get that right and put it in the video description.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I just repasted it. If it doesn't work, we'll get it right later, because I know that the description I can put longer links in.
Let's do that.
Yeah, okay. And Robert said, yes, it was Art Gelwicks that gave that tip about using the margins to get a good view on your mobile device.
Okay, good.
Okay, so Jared, I think we're just about ready to go. If you want to just wrap us up, I think we're just about done. I think maybe Yeah, you gave we're talking about OneNote and Teams on April 17th, which is going to be great. And Jared, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I mentioned on Twitter, it's at Jared_DeCamp is the best way to get in touch with me. And yes, we're talking Teams and OneNote. I'm putting together a little bit of a conference on Microsoft Teams and getting a lot of questions about the integration between OneNote and Teams. So looking forward to discussing that.
Awesome. And I'm looking forward to that too, because I don't know anything about Teams. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing all those experts speak about that. So thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a pleasure. And we will see you at the next Take Note Chat. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.